Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Let me get a round of applause at least. I appreciate everyone for being here. My name is Joel Gaitan. First time showing ever at an art fair. My booth is 512. And thank you, Max, for this opportunity, for having us here speak about our work. So before I get started, I wanted to say I got offered this opportunity to do the talk, and the only person that would come to mind to join me in this conversation is a really good friend of mine. It's called Cecilia Ortega. A round of applause. Cecilia Ortega has been mi musa. She has inspired me in the past couple of months, so there was no one else that I would love to discuss my work and her work and how our works, what it is our works. So with no further ado, Cecilia?
Can you hear me? Oh, I can hear me. So I want to say, first of all, good evening to you all. Thank you for coming and supporting such amazing person, artist, Joel Gaitan. I feel honored to sit here with him and to talk about like what we do, right? I always say, do what you love and love what you do. And that's basically what we do. So I feel very happy that, we can share this space, this time to just talk, learn about each other, learn about indigenous work, learn about people's work, right? And representing specifically. Welcome, and we can get started.
All right, with no further ado, Cecilia. Cuéntame. So, ¿qué es un altar? What's the importance of an altar for us?
Okay, as you can see right here in front of us, we wanted to share with you an altar. And whenever we go anywhere, we try to do this because we honored where we come from. We all come from somewhere, right? So you want to honor your ancestors, you want to honor the land, you want to honor the people. And in this case, like what you see right here, the big cuatlicue that you see in the center is a representation of Mother Earth. And I feel with Joel, like with the work that he does, like that's why we get along together so well, because we honored that, our mother, like the one that provides food, the one that provides shelter, right? The home where we live, Mother Earth. And so it's very nurturing, it's very loving. So it's represented right here with the flowers. The flowers get the energy from the sun directly, and that energy, we're all energy. So the energy, it's us. We're all energy. So you can see, we didn't light up our saumador, which is our main, well, at least for my culture, right? The smoke is the one that sends the signals to the greater, and basically is speaking, is a prayer. You're talking, right? You're speaking, and it's wind, and this wind travels, and that's what is represented there. So basically it's the elements in nature, like water of life. Besides coming from, right, like a specific place like Nicaragua, Mexico, earth, like we come from a mother, which is right there, Coatlicue, right? So you see a representation of wind, earth, fire, right, our spirit. And the importance of having this here is basically is how we walk, how we talk, what we do, and to have that in mind, like where we come from and where do we want to go and how do we walk in this land, in this plane.
Exacto. Me and Ceci, we've known each other for 4 to 5 months. Can I get a hashtag bestie? Like, altares for me has always been a taboo. I come from a very Pentecostal Christian family household. So giving praise to the dead is always a taboo. Nobody wants to talk about death or no like give death like recognition, you know. So when I met Ceci, I was just like, you know, I've noticed that her altar was just like it was in her everyday lifestyle. For me, it's more like a going against my Pentecostal background. Coming from a Pentecostal background where you don't speak about the dead. The dead is affiliated with the underworld. So, and Pentecostal folks are very spiritual. They speak in tongues, they get touched by the Spirit, and they fall. And, you know, and I've noticed that, but they reject everything that does the same thing, but in different names. When it comes to indigenous and African, like, religions, is like, no, we're superior. Because in the end of the day, Pentecostal Christianity is superior because it comes from, you know, the Spanish people, you know, the Catholicism and all that stuff, which is not a bad thing because Catholicism, in a way, has become a mixture, a synchronization. From synchronization, we have Santeria be born, we have Voodoo, we have Candomblé in Brazil be born, and, you know, we can only go forward, we can't really go back. So it's kind of like an appreciation of the things that have happened, unfortunately. But, you know, we can't go backwards. We just got to go forward. So altares for me is kind of like, you know, an F you to like everything that we've been taught and just trying to go against it. And besides that, I wanted to talk about identity. So tell me, Ceci, what do you identify as?
Well, myself, I identify myself as indigenous, even though within my people, cultured country, right? I'm what it's called a mestiza, which is a mixture of, right, like African, a little bit of African, a little bit of like Spanish, a little bit of, whole lot of indigenous. But like I myself, that wasn't a choice. So I go by indigenous because that's what I identify. And the reason why is because I believe in honoring the people before me. In this sense, it means like, my Totonaca lineage, my grandfather's family side, and I can also say Mexica because the same thing, right? Like you can say Azteca, you can say so many things, Chichimeca, but for me, I'm very proud of my indigenous roots, so I go by Totonaca or Mexica or indigenous because it wasn't a choice. Now, I do not hate the other side per se. I honored specifically the African inside of me on my father's side. And in Mexico, it's considered like the third root. So that's why I'm wearing this beautiful African skirt because I believe in the people. I believe in the power of the people. I believe in indigenous sovereignty and black liberation. And I believe in unity. I believe in working together. So, yeah, that's what I identify myself as.
For myself, I'm always thrown into this Latinidad box. I am first generation Nicaragüense in Miami, Florida. And what that means to me is exactly how it is, first generation Nicaragüense. Latinidad is a little bit racist. I think the term itself, it gives praise to European Latin people who speak Latin languages. We do speak Spanish. But the word itself excludes indigenous and black folks who make up Latinidad. Why do you think Afro-Indigenous have been, like that's just a term that was born like maybe a couple years ago? And why our Haitian folks are not included in Latinidad? You know, in Miami we have such a huge Haitian population, and it's such a slap in the face when they're like, oh, like Latinidad, you speak Spanish, or you have black folks speaking Spanish. It's such like, what? What is that? It makes no sense. Like it makes no sense to other folks, and it's like, it's lack of education. So Latinidad is very white superior, very racist. I understand that we all crave a sense of identity. So I understand it, but like, we're not the same. I feel like if we make the effort to learn where we're all from, Ceci is Mexicana, I'm Nicaraguense. We're not the same. And I'm always like, Nicaragua, what part of Mexico is that from? You know? It's such a, like, learn. Like, we're so different. Like, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, like, all of the Caribbean folks are Haitian folks from Quisqueya. Like, you know, like, what is up with the line in between Haiti and Dominican Republic? Like, we're all like, let's learn about each other's culture. So for me, I just identify with the region of Nicaragua, specifically Managua, San Juan de la Concepcion, y en Estelí. And, you know, so many people, we're so different in so many ways. So with no further ado, Ceci.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you, Joel.
Cuéntame.
I want to get where your inspiration comes from because, you know, if you guys all had a chance to go see his work, which I'm sure you did, and it's amazing, it's sold out. Every single piece, yay! That's right. Yeah, I wonder, like, you know, I know a little bit here and there, but I want to hear it from you, like, where does that inspiration comes from? What is important for Joel? When you're doing your pieces, do you pray? Do you sing? What do you do?
Okay. Before I get started, Max, can we go specifically wise through some of the slides so I could speak about the work? Look at my queen. Okay. So we could start here. So this is one of the pieces that I have on display on booth 512. This is called Granada, Granada is a colonial city in Nicaragua, very colorful and it's very beautiful, like great people, food and all that stuff. But you know, Granada at the end of the day was Spanish like conquest. But no, it's okay. So in Granada, basically, the shape of the piece came from bureau urns that are found all over Central America, specifically Nicaraguan region. It is a boot shape, is what they call it. Bureau urn. So I wanted to do that boot shape, and I wanted to do on top of it a little bit of interior, exterior design on Nicaraguan Granada houses. So you have the typical staircase. You have vasijas en la entrada, which is two vases in the entrance. Usually all Nicaraguan homes, they have vases for no reason. We do it for just, like, it's an art design that we do. And we have, right here, she's holding nacatamales, which is, you know, tamales, but Nica version. And that's basically why it's called Granada, because it's inspired by the interior and exterior design of the city. But the shape itself was inspired by bureau urns found all over Managua, La Isla Ometepe. And if we could go to the next slide, please. And this one is inspired by, I guess you would call it like sexual experiences and stuff like that. So you would see like here, this is a double mouth incision fermentation vessel found in La Isla de Ometepe, used to make cojoyo, which is a sacred moonshine, I guess you would call it, from La Isla Ometepe. And it's buried in the floor, it's fermented. And I took that shape and inspiration to make Feet Boy. The shape is exactly inspired by it, but it's just like personal experience, and we're experiencing sexuality and stuff like that. We could go to the next one, please. So this one right here is called gallo pinto. In Nicaraguan cuisine, gallo pinto is rice and beans, what Cubans call congri. So we would say like pito is a penis, so we put gallo pinto, like, you know, to kind of do that. But besides that, it was inspired, like all my penis pieces are inspired by this specific piece right here, which is a vessel that was found in La Isla Ometepe. Academically, they could not find the purpose of it. So it was dismissed as a sex toy. And so, you know, that's why like I'm so inspired because sex is such a taboo to talk about as well. We don't talk about sex. We don't talk about. We can't even talk about sex with our kids. So it was just like, I kind of want to like these pieces. I just want to make them like, you know, educational and personal experiences and say that sex is not such a taboo to talk about. Like we can't even we can't even enjoy sex when it comes to most of the times because we can't talk about it or so on and so forth. I mean, what do you feel about this, Ceci?
I love this. I do have a lot of things
Cuéntame,
to
I'm
say.
listening. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Well, like you said, like sex can be a taboo, but really, like without sex, we wouldn't be here, right? So to me, whenever, like within danza world, like there's steps that you do that is basically like opening your legs to Mother Earth because you want that. Like meaning there's communication.
To interrupt
There's
you really quick, tell us a little bit more about danza. Just in case anyone in the audience not familiar with danza.
right. So I'm a danzante, which means I'm a practitioner. I do traditional Mexica conchero dance, which is ceremonial dance. And basically, we follow like a calendar all throughout the year. We follow our Aztec calendar or traditional calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. And we honor the elements in nature, like I mentioned in the beginning, water, fire, earth, wind. And when we do this dance, what we do is a prayer in motion. So each one of the movements means something. So going back to what we were talking about, there's a lot of movements that have a lot to do with creation, with like that communication you have with Mother Earth, how the rain, right? In order for things to grow, the rain takes a part, the sun takes a part. So it's beautiful. It's nature. And so when it comes to this beautiful work that Joel does, I feel like it's very synchronized in that sense because yeah, we wouldn't be able to be here if right there wasn't a mom and a dad and we weren't in that sacred space of sacred waters. So
Thank you. We could go on the next slide. Thank you. So this piece right here is called Pinolio. I'm super inspired by head carrying, the act of head carrying, which is found all over Central America, South America, Africa, and this was a photo that I took in front of my grandpa's church in Managua. Ella es de Masaya. Masaya is a city in Nicaragua, and she was selling níspero. I do not know how to say that in English, but yeah, so basically head carrying has always been very important within my work because my work, I like to represent the unrepresented, and I think that women who are in the streets with something heavy on their head, saying something catchy like a catchy song and letting you know what they're selling, that's an art in itself. And my family came from that, my dad and my mom, and it's just very important to represent that. And Pinolio is an indigenous drink to Nicaragua that's made out of cacao and corn. So I was inspired by the photographs that I took in Nicaragua to make this certain piece. And we could go to the next slide. And so this one I left for Ceci. So I've made this piece. So I sent a picture to Ceci and I'm like, girl, let me know what you think. And she said, La Mayahuel. And I was like, okay, so what's up? So tell me about this.
it's beautiful. It's one of my favorites. I really like La Mayahuel. It's a representation of, for me, of medicine. I say each one of us, we carry a specific medicine to this world, but in this case, it represents like traditional medicine, right? Like, you get sick, you go to the doctor, they give you pills or they give you this and that, drugs, and then like to me, that's not my traditional medicine. My traditional medicine is plants, and the plants, if you know about their medicine and if you communicate with them, they can heal you. It's not magic, none of that stuff. It's scientific. So to me, this was like an amazing, beautiful piece that represents all the medicines that we have, that we use, that do work, and it's just love.
And going back to when we talked earlier about danza, I was super inspired by this movement where you give birth and you open up and you go down. When we talked earlier, so that's exactly why I did the hands as they are, and I made La Mayahuel giving birth because I saw that dance and like usually everything is always gender, like male or female and stuff like that. I don't really believe in gender and stuff like that. So it's like it's pretty cool to like that I was inspired by that, and like you have male identifying folks doing female roles in a dance. It's kind of like you're turning the tables. So it was pretty cool, and that's why La Mayahuel became what it became because, it's just we need to break those barriers about what male could do, what female could do. Like we could do everything. We're all the same. We all came from La Mayahuel, right? So, and super inspired by that.
Yeah, like, I mean, the world we live in, it's a binary world, right? But I say we are all energy. So energy does not have that. Or it has everything. Like I say, female, male, it's all within me. It just depends how I wake up.
Yeah.
How I feel that day. But yeah, like to me, it's like I'm energy, and that's how I go. Like yes, I love wearing skirts because I feel comfortable, but that doesn't mean that it has to be,
Yep.
the way.
And that's what I thought was pretty cool about that because also I have participated in Ceci's danza, and they have said, Él es Dios. And Ceci always be like, ella también. Like, because, Él es Dios, you're giving superior to, like, the male. But Ceci always, like, she makes sure she says, ella también. So can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, why do you say that? And tell us what Él es Dios means, too.
Basically, within the danza world, like the conchero way, we say every time, Él es Dios. Él es Dios means like he is God. But, and that's why always in my mind, or not just in my mind, I make sure people hear me, I say ella también, because like it's not just he or she, like I said before, it's an energy. So we cannot just, make little squares of like él, ella, he, she, but to me it's like them. So yeah, it's a side joke, no joke, but él es Dios is a way in which we say respectfully, right? Like we speak to creation. It doesn't have a gendered, even though in Spanish definitely it's él, he. But anyways, yeah, to me, we're all energy. Él es Dios y ella también.
Exacto. And thanks, Boo. Sorry, I'm having an appreciation moment for Ceci right now. And on this right here, we have the Stallion, inspired by our own Megan the Stallion. Because she, it's just my work. I just like to challenge everything. Seriously, I like people to question things. My mom always says it's bad to question things. I understand where I come from. Like I come from a Christian household, so she's always like, don't question anything, read the Bible and stuff like that. But this is all from all those personal experiences. I'm questioning everything. What's up? So, yeah. And do you find any challenges being Mexican, or for myself, first generation Nika, do you find challenges in the art world, or presenting yourself as an artist?
Well, first of all, yes. uh, and I guess it has a lot more to do with just being, like how I go in the world, in this binary world as a woman. So just that within that, like, yeah, definitely, because I challenge every time, like, even though I respect like traditional ways, like I also challenge per se. There's not a lot of drummers within like traditional settings, but I am a drummer, and I'm a lady, a woman. That's how I go by, and so people look at me like, that's not your place because you're a lady. You're supposed to be either a smudger or a dancer, but not a drummer. And I'm like, why? Like I like to ask questions. I don't like to be told. So, so sometimes, yes, because I do have a lot of respect, and I have elders that I follow out of respect, but that doesn't mean I agree. So I think we can agree to disagree because we are people that have a mind, that we are intelligent, and we can ask questions. And so within this dancer world, yeah, I am known because I am a drummer, because I also do like play the conch shell, because within the Native American church, I'm also a drummer, and that's even a little more challenging for me. But hey, here I am with a beautiful heart, and people see that. So
Say
yeah.
less. HBIC, HBIC. For myself, I think being first generation Nicaragüense, it's a challenge for sure. Like, this opportunity actually came to me like 2 months ago, and they're like, "Hey, we're giving you a booth at Nada Miami," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't have any work, but I guess I have to make it work." So it was something that I had to do quick. I was just devoting all my time to it, and I had to do whatever the fuck I had to do and take space. This is exactly why I invited Ceci, because it's all about taking space. Um, and I think it was very important because the art world is very white dominated. There's no representation for our Mexican folks, our Central American folks, South American folks. Like, I like to take up space wherever I go. And specifically, my installation here at Nada is about a pulperia, about the working woman in Nicaragua who owns a pulperia, which is what other people call bodega or corner store. So it's set up like a shop, and every piece on the setup is a woman. The world doesn't go around without you even being here because someone gave birth to you. So this is why like it was very important for you to join me in this talk, because I feel like we share a lot of things in common. Like, you have inspired me lately. Like, the pieces are inspired by you. Like, you've inspired me. So, and Nicaraguan art, you don't hear about it. So I wanted an art, like everyone's coming to our booth and they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And it's like, I get it, but also like we've been art. Like, our stuff has always been art. We've always been doing this, and people look at it and like, oh, it's art. And it's like, no, it's more like a lifestyle. Like this has always been around. So that's why it's important, like, to take up space. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be here and talk and to have a booth, but I'm doing this for our people and to give space in spaces where it's not giving to us. We have to take space and stuff like that. So.
Yes, can we? That's beautiful. Thank you, Joel. The reason why I'm here is because of you. And I do trust that, everything that we do comes from within our hearts. And the work that we do is also not just for us, it's for the community, is for the people, and that's why you're here. And I'm so honored that everybody came to support you. Yes. Because, yes, we have to take up space, period. That's it, you know? We are here to thrive. We're here to do what we do with integrity, with love, with respect, honoring where we come from, honoring where we are. And yeah, to me, it's such honor like to share this space with you guys, and specifically, definitely with Joel.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, I feel like we're wrapping up. I feel like we had to say what we had to say, and I wanted to say thank you, Ceci, thank you, Max, for having us here at the stage. And you know, if you haven't checked out the work, I'm over at booth 512. Besides that, Ceci teaches at Ameyal Monday through what, baby? Okay, there you go. So check us out, Ameyal at Nicanahuac on Instagram. And what do you say? We do a little performance and then we'll
Yes. You guys want to hear some music?
Dale. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get started in a little bit, okay? Thank you.
So we have our beautiful Ameyal community here with us. That's our home, right?
Exactly.
If you haven't checked Ameyal, you can come and see Joel's beautiful work on the walls. It's just like he's all around, just to say. So we're gonna play a little bit of traditional son jarocho, which is it's got African roots, European, and of course indigenous. And we have that tarima down there, which is a wooden platform, which is, it means it's a heart, just like a drum. When you go on it, it's your heart beat, right? It's what like each one of us have inside. So it's not just dancing, but it's like communication with something bigger than you, right? That heart, that beautiful dancing. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Tlazo Kamati, Joel, because you're such an inspiration to me personally, but to all of us, because you're just beautiful. So let's do this.
Let's do it, baby. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Just take a couple minutes to set up. Thank you, Javi and Mateo, for being here.
Napoleón gallo despodo mi cresta.
En la ocasión, porque uno se alebresta,
Corre muchacho, corre a caballo, que la gallina tiene otro gallo. ¿Qué pensamiento tendría? ¿Qué pensamiento tendría una gallina con pollos? Una gallina con pollos, ¿qué pensamiento tendría?
¿Qué pensamiento tendría una gallina con pollos? Una gallina con pollos, ¿qué pensamiento tendría?
Tendría si en el suelo, que como los mantendría si en el suelo haciendo hoyos, en el suelo haciendo hoyos porque chichi no tenía.
No tendría. ¿Qué pensamiento tendría si en el suelo haciendo hoyos? Si en el suelo haciendo hoyos, porque chichi no tenía.
Corre muchacho, corre a caballo, que la gallina tiene otro gallo.
Valiente al horizonte, que la gallina tiene pendiente.
El gallo canta de trueno, al aire danza su queja, al aire danza su queja, el gallo cantó de trueno.
El gallo cantó de trueno, al aire lanza su queja, al aire lanza su queja, el gallo cantó de trueno.
Una mariposa, y siempre canta con una mariposa en la cabeza, mariposa en la cabeza, gallo, mariposa y luna.
Canta con una, dicen que canta con una mariposa en la cabeza, mariposa en la cabeza, gallo, mariposa hay luna.
El muchacho corre a caballo, que la gallina tiene otro gallo.
El hombre dándole grito, porque el muchacho baila solito.